What's up everybody, my name is Takuma Matsui. I'm a producer and instructor here at 343 Labs in New York City. You probably clicked on this video going, another video on a fat 808 sound. And yes, we're gonna be making some fat 808 sounds. But in the process, we're also gonna be exploring some practical audio processing techniques that will come in handy as you produce music. In this video specifically, we're gonna be exploring serial versus parallel processing, order of processing given multiple effect units, and different combinations and routing options as we create this fat 808 sound. As usual, the project file is available for download, and let's get started. Okay, let's start here. I have operator pushing out a simple sine wave as my starting point. Ooh, a little disclaimer. If you're listening to this on laptop speakers or phone speakers, you might not be able to hear what's going on right now. Go get some headphones. I can wait. Got your headphones? Okay, one more time. If I pop in a spectrum analyzer in here, you can see that it's only playing the fundamental or the note pitch of the 808. I'm gonna add some harmonics to this pure sound, the stuff that we hear as tone, with a saturator. Let's go into drive and color. Let's pop in a saturator. I'm gonna increase the drive of saturator. Let's pop up 20 decibels. And because I'm only trying to add color and not volume, I'm gonna take out the same amount from the output. It might be important to note here that saturator is non-linear, meaning it's going to behave differently if we have the drive at 5 decibels versus 30 decibels. I'm going to pop this back to 20 decibels of drive. Saturator has multiple different modes for how we want to add these harmonics into our sounds. This is represented with a little graph called a transfer function. It looks a little confusing, but it's basically showing us the input on the x-axis and output on the y-axis. This first mode clips the signal in the same way an analog equipment would. We can change this to digital clip, and you can see the little kink on the transfer function. There's two modes in here for less obvious clipping. Soft sine and medium curve. There's also one called wave shaper, which sounds a little bit like old Buchla style wave shapers. And with this, you can open additional parameters in here. So all of these are just flavors for how we can add harmonics to our sounds. I think I'm gonna set mine to hard curve. And let's pop up the drive a little bit more, maybe 26 decibels. And take out 26 out. So a really common technique in bass processing is adding a filter immediately after some sort of distortion. Let's pop in an auto filter in here, and let's hear how that sounds. So the low pass filter here is basically used to dial down some of the harmonics that were generated with the saturator. One thing we could check out here is the filter slope. We have 12 and 24 decibels per octave. All this means is that if I set the filter cutoff to 500 hertz, We're gonna hear full volume at 500 Hertz, and when we go up an octave at 1000 Hertz, it's gonna be 24 decibels quieter. Well, now that we have the ingredients, let's talk about the order of effects processing. In any DAW, signal always moves from left to right in the case of Ableton, or top to bottom if you're in Logic or Pro Tools. This means that if I move the filter before the saturator, we're gonna hear the full effect of the saturator without any of the filtering. We could also use this to our advantage. Let's say we filtered out too much harmonics from the saturated sound, we can add another saturator immediately after the filter. In saturator, we can also pull up the parameter called bass to add additional harmonics to low frequency sounds. We can also do this before the filter. And let's adjust the filter cutoff again. Now that we have all of these effects set up, let's talk a little bit about serial versus parallel processing. Right now, with the dry wet at 100%, we're hearing serial processing. All this means is that the signal is moving in a single stream, operator to the saturator, saturator to autofilter, then to saturator, and then to the output. Now, in parallel processing, we can create a separate stream where we can process the audio in a different way, creating more of a hybrid blended signal. Now, there's a couple different ways of doing parallel processing, but in this video, I'm gonna be using audio effect racks. First, let's select all of the audio effects by holding Shift. And I'm gonna use Command or Control G to nest it inside of an audio effects rack. Now, let's open up the chain list. And let's duplicate this chain with Command or Control D. Now we have two of the same chain. And for the second chain, I'm gonna take off all of the devices. Let's call this one chain 2. And now we have two streams of audio processing, one for saturation and one for just the dry signal. I want to use these two streams to process the signal in a really creative way. Namely, I want to use the first stream for the low end, and the other just for the upper harmonics. This configuration is actually similar to plugins like Waves Max Bass. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's just solo the low end. I'm gonna take off the saturator here. And I'm gonna close down on the filter. And maybe more aggressively saturate this one. Again, we lost a lot of the harmonics just now, so the sound is a little bit duller. Let's go into our second stream here. And with this, I'm gonna add saturation. Maybe I'll use a different mode here. Maybe medium curve. Cool, that's plenty bright. So let's add a low pass filter in here. And let's add a second saturator in here. I'll use the digital clip mode for this one. And then on top of that, I'm gonna add a high pass filter. Pull down the filter cutoff. And maybe a gentler slope at 12 decibels per octave. And now that we have these two separate streams, I'm gonna mix them to taste. And maybe we can make some more manual adjustments here. Now let's see how this actually sounds in the context of music. Now the goal here is to have options. Now that I'm hearing it with the drum loop, I'm going, okay, maybe I could add a little bit more high end. Maybe the saturation mode. And fine-tune the balance between the low end and the upper harmonics. Okay, so we looked at a couple different ways of processing a simple sine wave today. I wanted to limit the amount of variables in this video, so I only used saturator and auto filter, but these can be interchanged for any kinds of filtering or distortion plugins. I hope the takeaway from this video was that we have a lot of different options, even if we're using two devices. I hope you found all of this to be helpful. Again, the project file is available for you to download. My name is Takuma Matsui, here with 343 Labs in New York City. For more information on our courses in New York, Berlin, or online, check us out at 343labs.com. Thanks again for watching. See y'all next time.